you asked me if I was gonna become a VJ, I would have laughed. And I always dreamt about it, but I never took action. And that's the time where I started working on my demo tapes.
Hi, I'm Katy G with SaltWire. And who are you?
My name is Rick Campanelli. Used to be known as Rick the Temp.
Yes,
I don't know if you remember that handle.
I do, but I have a question about you being Rick the Temp.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start there.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start. So a lot of people do keep this Rick the Temp kind of character and say you kind of fell into this career, but they skip over the part where you didn't actually get to stay after that summer. Like, it wasn't just right after the summer you moved on.
You're right, Katie. I didn't. They got me out of there fast.
They did.
What would have been August 31st, 1994? We're going to send you back to Hamilton.
Right.
Because we're done with you here. Your 2 months has expired. You're out of here. That's how long it lasted, my temp tenure in the summer of '94, July and August.
Yeah, and they fulfilled their obligation of the contest, and they packed your bags.
They wiped their hands clean of me and on my way.
But you weren't ready to go.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I loved that environment so much. From being this, I watched it religiously. Like most young Canadians back in the 80s and 90s, I watched it religiously. I got my foot in the door. I got a taste of the magic. And I didn't want to leave. So August 31st, I said goodbye. But, September 5th, I was back on the phone with them, trying to work out a way where I could get back in.
Right.
Whether it was internship or volunteering or doing anything that they wanted me to do, because I just loved that place so much. And I fell more in love with it that summer of 1994 after winning that contest.
Right.
So I made it work for myself, and my next job was answering the phones.
Fun. And you would rewind tapes.
And I would rewind tapes.
You absolutely did expert levels, obviously.
I fetched some coffee, mopped some floors, but I did all those jobs that people weren't really into doing, but I would do anything just to be there.
Yeah, so you didn't really fall into it. Like, you really wanted it. Like, you worked for that. And you also have this different perspective, along with the documentary, of a different kind of work with MuchMusic. You weren't just, the VJ all of a sudden introduced and that was it. You have a different perspective of the inner workings.
I really do, because I'm a physical education grad from university. I was going to go on to teach, but now I win this contest that allows me to be at a TV station. I see the inner workings of TV, and it's like a new world to me. So yeah, it took a good year and a half before I actually went on air as a MuchMusic VJ. So I learned so much about that place in that year and a half. And I think that was a good thing, because I have no knowledge of television and cameras and microphones and how it all works, but I did have knowledge, and I was very knowledgeable in music. Yeah. I lived and breathed music, and my thumb was on the pulse of music back in the day. I didn't want a day to pass where I wasn't listening to music or going to see a show or opening up liner notes and reading about a band, but I lived it. I really did.
Yeah, but you can see that it's genuine, right? It wasn't just a job. It wasn't, a textbook interview of you asked this person this, and this.
Yeah,
like, you were genuinely interested.
I was passionate about it. And I'm so glad that you say that, because that was what it was. And I joke around with my friends and family, like, I got paid to do it, not a lot because it's Canadian television, but I would have done it like just for free, because the love of interviewing bands and watching all the music videos that we wanted to, and going to the concerts in Toronto every night. It was my life, and I loved it so much back in the day.
Coming into that kind of scene without any, journalistic training or things, that was kind of a chaotic time for music. Kurt Cobain had just died. The club kids were just, dispersing into the dance scene or whatever was coming up. Yeah. Rap and hip hop were really starting to take off. Like, what was that like as somebody, had never been told, like, avoid this, just here's an interview, no script, just go talk to this guy.
And don't forget being on the verge of the boy band explosion and the bubblegum pop explosion.
There's a lot.
I had just seen Nirvana for the In Utero tour in Buffalo months before we lost Kurt, and I wasn't on air at the time. Erica was on the air with the other VJs, and that was a really tough time for us. that were so into that amazing band. But yeah, like you're put into situations like that where, you know, hip hop is exploding. Okay, now the boy band movement is exploding, but we just rolled with it. We rolled with the good, we rolled with the bad, and we came up with things off the top of our heads, and it was live, as you may know.
Yes,
and
yeah.
things happened, which you know, mostly good things happen, but sometimes bad things happen. But you just had to go with it. And once it was out there because it was so live and so fresh, and the adrenaline was constantly pumping through our veins. But yeah, we, first and foremost, and the common denominator, we're music fans. We're lovers of all genres of music, whether
Right.
it's jazz or hip hop or grunge or alt rock or pop, whatever it was. We just, and I'm saying we, like, not just the VJs, but the young Canadians that were tuning into MuchMusic, we just wanted to know more about that band.
Yeah.
And why they made that video that way, or, you know, we were just so curious and interested.
Now, with that, I have to ask, because when I was a kid, this was one of my favorite parts. What was it like on Electric Circus? Like, that chaos, like, do you remember any of the dance moves?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
I remember all those
there's
dance
always
moves.
that one guy looking right into the camera, and then there's the leather-vested, muscly guy.
Yeah, and then the guy with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
All the characters, all the great dancers,
And
the
you
legends.
thought it was the same video playing, but it wasn't.
No, it's different. It's different all the time. Well, that was a staple MuchMusic show, as we know now. Like, everybody knows Electric Circus, or hears the stories of Electric Circus. I was fortunate because I did a show called Combat Zone on Friday night that aired at 7, was done at 8. Electric Circus kicked in at 9. Sometimes when the Electric Circus hosts, well, Juliet or Nadine or, you know, Monica, I was there during Monica's time. If they called in sick, the show must go on, and they got the punk kid from Hamilton to fill in to do the dance show.
Yeah.
But that was the beauty of Much. We could fill in and do all types of different genres of music because we loved music, and that was a chaotic show.
I
at
have to
Electric
ask.
Circus.
You, like,
But fun.
The VJs would always be on the phone during Electric. Who were you talking to? They would just like be in the background. I was like, who are they calling? Is there like an Electric Circus like delivery
Hotline?
company?
Yeah.
Like what's like,
Maybe there were viewers calling in to say, well, you got to play this dance track next. You got to tell Monica to play this
it
dance
was
track
never
next.
established.
Never
as-
established what we were doing on those phones.
It was
but
just the
that was
phones.
the environment. That was the studio, the environment. It was the living movie. You know, whatever happened in the background happened. It was our workspace. And it was the same space where we introduced music videos. It was the same space where Electric Circus was happening. It was the same space where the I&Is would take place, or the Live at Much's Much on Demand. All those shows took place in the same environment. And I think that was kind of cool. Even as a viewer in the 80s, I loved seeing what was going on behind the scenes. Like, some guy just rolled in a tray of like food just behind the camera right now. And I love that. Let's show that. You should be over here shooting this way.
Yeah. We're part of the scenery. We're just having a conversation. Life's happening. That's important.
But it was good. It was chaotic every day, and we loved that.
Yeah, and as I understand, like, the set for Electric Circus was like the size of this carpet. Like they like, there's a reason everyone was sweating. But there's only like 7 people.
And it was the beauty and the trickery of all the camera angles.
Yeah,
you could be in
there's
that corner.
mirrors.
You could be in this corner. There were mirrors over here. You could be in that corner. It was tiny. Are you serious? You walked into that set. It was so small.
Yeah.
It was like this area right here.
I think there was actually only like 2 people on Electric Circus, and it was just looped. But with those times, like, can you imagine now having that happen with your, like, you are popular. Like, you were one of the most recognizable Canadians.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
Gosh, no. No, I had a job just like you have right now, Katy.
Okay, yes. That's
It was a
true.
cool job. We had cool jobs.
I don't think, as of yet, I'm part of anyone's core memory, whereas you are. But in the times of like Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, and I mean, you kind of like were the predecessor to YouTube with the Speaker's Corner and.
So true. They said video killed the radio star. The Buggles sang that song back in the 80s. And YouTube kind of killed the TV magic that we were doing at Much anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, Speaker's Corner was the original
You
YouTube.
paid $1.
You paid $1. You got to speak your mind.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Yeah, it used to have to pay money to
Pay me.
tell people your thoughts. We should still do that in some scenarios, but with like, the popularity and the audience being so close and the bands being so close to the audience, like, do you think it would have benefited to be of this time, or do you think it only could have happened because it wasn't of this time?
That is a great question. I would love to see it still happen to this day. Would the bands trust all the strangers as much as they did back in the day? They felt comfortable in the MuchMusic environment. They didn't mind when we raised those window doors and let the people in off of Queen Street.
I remember there was one interview with Linkin Park, and they're all, you might be talking to them.
One of the members was outside.
One of the members was in the crowd, and they were like, they didn't recognize him. He was against the window. Like, you would never see that happen, never.
See it. And the beauty, too, of all those years ago, we were breaking a lot of bands, too. We were introducing a lot of bands. This was their first time introducing their music videos, and we'd play them on MuchMusic. So a lot of people didn't really know who these bands were. That's why there were only 5 people outside or a few people inside. But when they continued to come back, album after album, video after video, they became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the big crowds would show up for these bands because now they were global.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world knew who they were.
Yeah.
Like the Jay-Z's, the Kanye's, the Rihanna's, the
I remember,
Spice Girls, or
I think
whoever.
I first saw Kanye West do Jesus Walks on
John
MuchMusic.
Street.
It was around the time you and George Stroumboulopoulos were moving out. I was just like, whoa. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that was just Kanye West.
The first time Kanye came on, I believe it was for Much On Demand. He was sitting where you are and I was sitting where I was. And there was probably 15 people around that didn't really know much about Kanye's music. They knew he produced other artists and made music with other artists, but his music was finally seeing the light of day, and it was such an intimate setting. Yeah. And then fast forward a few years later, he comes back with Jay-Z, and there's people all over the place, and the guy's blown up. But that was the beauty of what we were able to do at MuchMusic. We were sort of like all music fans, but introducing and sharing the music with all young Canadians, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I loved MuchMusic, and I loved Much More Music because as Much started to go up into like the MTV territory, I was like, this still has music videos.
Now, when you say the MTV territory, you're talking about the pop culture shows?
Yeah, when it started like to kind of shift over to, and I mean, they had to compete.
Yeah.
That, like, I get it.
But you know what, and I was there for that, and you saw that shift. We had signed up, my generation of VJ had signed up to talk about music, and we were in love with the music. Right. But then you see this trend that MTV, they're playing more pop culture shows, whether it was the Osbournes or Jersey Shore, whatever it was, becoming less about the music that we fell in love with.
It was absolutely not about the music.
Yeah.
But you had quite the array of VJs.
There were close to 30 of us since its inception.
They sent you, the very kind, gentlemanly, Italian Canadian Catholic boy, to Woodstock 99.
Yeah, they did.
What? Okay.
I jumped at that opportunity. I jumped at it. I was there in '94 when they did the 25th anniversary of Woodstock, but I was just answering phones. They did the 30th anniversary, and I said, "Send me. I want to be part of that." And it was the most amazing weekend. Now we heard about all the negative days after.
Right.
We know what happened at Woodstock, especially towards the end, but we didn't know the really bad stuff that was taking place. And we're not going to talk about it here, but you didn't know that was going on at the time because I was just into what Limp Bizkit was doing. I was into what Korn was doing. I was into what the Chili Peppers were doing. As a music fan, all eyes were on the stage when they were on there. And that's just one genre of music. The Hip were there. James Brown was there. Sheryl Crow was there. Like so many
Woodstock
amazing
99
bands.
was wild.
Yeah. Were you there?
No, I wish.
You probably weren't even born yet.
I was born. Yeah. I was alive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
you heard the stories. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I just like it's so funny because Limp Bizkit was already kind of in a weird kind of relationship with the media and all households. Yeah. And it was like this was really their make or break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't really answer if that did make or break them. They kind of just continued.
They were already pretty huge at that time, and I think that's why the organizers wanted them there. But at the same time, you bring a band like that in to stir the pot and get the young fans very aggressive, and they did their job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were already pretty a big band, and they just got bigger, I believe, after that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that, like, you know, really changed entirely the course of their career or anything like that.
But they did what they signed up for, to cause havoc.
Yes.
It got scary when they were up on stage.
Was there anyone that you interviewed personally that you're like, this person is going to either kill me, or like, was there anyone that you like feared, like that you're just intimidated by, or just vibes?
I just talked to someone earlier about this. When we started bringing in the actors, like the A-list actors, like Tom Cruise came in, Harrison Ford came in, Ben Affleck came in, and John Travolta came in. When I got a chance to interview John Travolta, it's like, I grew up watching this guy on TV.
Right.
Vinnie Barbarino, Welcome Back, Kotter. Kill Bill had just, you know, this was a huge character. Now we're stepping away from music, but we're still talking entertainment. And I was so nervous. I was extremely nervous.
That would be pretty intimidating.
And people could see that I was nervous.
Right.
But like I said earlier, I'm a fan. I was a fan of movie, I was a fan of music, and that was first and foremost for me. So of course I'm gonna get nervous and butterflies.
Of course. Outside of much though, there's one interview you have with Donald Trump before he's president.
That's right, yeah.
And
he was doing The Apprentice.
Yeah, it's one of the only times I think I've actually seen you kind of nervous. I was like, he's uncomfortable with this conversation.
That was intimidating.
Because he won't answer, and he's like, I think I know my kid's name basically, but you know, like.
First of all, you're waiting for him for 2 hours.
Right.
And then you get escorted into his boardroom. Now this is in his tower, and he's got a penthouse up there at the top, and you're in his place, and there's like gold everywhere. Anyway, you get escorted into his boardroom, and he comes in, and you got to be ready to go, because this guy is a business guy. Well, he was before politics.
Yeah.
Still business guys. And he's dictating what's going on. Okay, this is going to be 4 minutes. Let's go. You can't talk about this, but we can talk about this. Let's go. And then he wraps it up at the end, if you remember. That's it. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Okay, on your way now, little guy. But that was quite intimidating. And he wasn't president yet. You're right.
No, he was a few years off.
But we loved his show. I loved The Apprentice. There was something about that show that I loved. I don't know.
Like that reality TV era was just like, it's almost like how we look back on Tiger King at the beginning of COVID. Like there's this weird like nostalgia to it that's like, I'm disgusting, but I had a good time.
Yeah, and it's ironic too, Katy, because one of the reasons why I started leaving MuchMusic was because of all the reality pop culture shows, and then all these years later, it's my guilty pleasure. Even so far as to, I'm actually on one right now, and I'm loving every minute of it on CTV. There's a show called The Traders. It's like
your life has come
it's
full
so
circle.
ironic. It's so ironic how I was
Oh my
pushing
God!
that stuff
Imagine
away.
if you win, and then you won to get onto, and then you left because of reality, and then you won the reality
Wouldn't
contest.
that just blow your mind?
Can you win another contest?
I think you can.
Like, what if you win this?
What's the statute of limitations on winning contests? I don't know, 7 years?
I think two career-defining.
2 in a lifetime?
So I saw when you walked in, I've interrupted you on your way to eat a donair.
I was gonna eat a donair. I've got it right over there, sitting right beside your camera person, and I hope it stays there and the camera person doesn't take it. But every time I come to Halifax, I've got my friends here that say, you gotta have a donair. So I have a donair.
Where'd you get it from?
Forget the name of the place. It was just in that nice little mall across the way here.
Nice.
But a donair is a donair, no? Maybe not. Hey, come on now. A donair is not a donair. I got to go to a specific place, yeah?
Well, that depends. It depends on your personal preference, really. But yes, there is certain donair places that are more popular. So you got your donair. Do you have any drinks with the donair, or do you just have the donair?
No, you got to wash it down with something.
Right.
So I do have a drink with the donair.
Do you drink a beer or a cider or a pop?
This is like a vodka infused drink.
Does it have a lobster on it or anything? It's like,
we can have a look. I think it does actually.
And because I
Katy.
want to talk about how you transported this. He transported a donair into the hotel. He's from Halifax. He's transporting donairs on liquor store bags.
I'm an Going in?
You are. There you
Oh,
are.
donaire?
I've
Yeah.
knighted you.
So here we go. So we've talked about the donaire. There it is right there. Okay?
That's the donaire.
Is that a 9-inch? I said, she said she got small and large. I said, what's the difference? 7-inch, 9-inch. I said large. I want large. Is that 7-inch? I got ripped off, maybe?
It's a medium-ish.
Okay. And then this is what we have. Let's see.
All right.
Oh, look at you.
Ah, I guessed it. It's a blue lobster.
You want it.
No,
it's for me. Okay.
No, please have
There.
it. It's delicious. I
It's
love
the blue lobster. Now, what's up with the blue lobsters?
Blue lobsters are very, very rare, but they exist.
My sons asked me to get a blue lobster stuffy. They collect stuffies.
yeah, they're-
I need to find one. I go everywhere around Halifax. I see red lobster here, red lobster there. I need a blue lobster stuffy. Can you help me out with this?
Where could you eat?
Because if I go back home with a red lobster,
That doesn't count.
it doesn't count.
That's
That has failed. So I need a blue lobster.
really, it should be the mall. Any block
I
of
was
Halifax.
in that mall. I was in that mall.
There
I walked
wasn't
all over-
one there.
I walked all over that mall.
We're gonna find you one.
I'll find one.
We'll find
Well,
one.
that's all. I'll talk to concierge.
You can't bring them the drink though. Be like, it's time to level up, kids. Here's your
here,
blue.
kids, I couldn't find a blue lobster stuffy, but here's the blue lobster can. The contents are not in there anymore because they're in Daddy's belly from the night before, but no, I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Well, I appreciate you so much.
Oh, Katy,
interrupting
that was a lot of fun.
your donaire.
No, my pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having me on.
It's very nice meeting you. And tonight you're going to go to the screening.
Yes, we are. It'll be my 6th time watching 299 Queen Street West.
Do you pretend to be surprised every time? Like,
I do pick out different things every time. There's something new that the director has
very
put in there.
detailed, I hear.
It is very detailed, and you learn so much because it takes place right at the inception. You know, August 31st, 1984. Even before that, as they were preparing for the launch,
Right.
up until the very end, where it all came down.
It all
came crashing
it
down.
crumbled. That is the Canadian way. Nothing stays.
I got
It
out
always-
before it all crumbled down.
You did. You did a very good job. You kept the legacy. You mic dropped, literally. But I very much appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
you,
happy
Katy.
to see you in Halifax. I hope you come back.
For sure I will.
And I will buy you a lunchbox.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm good with the paper bags.
All right, it's very good. It's very good. Great. Thank you so much.
It's very Steeltown, very Hamilton of me.
Yes, Mr. Rick Campanelli.
Bye, everybody.